Welcome back. On today's notes, 11.4, volume of prisms and cylinders. That's on the agenda, followed by an exit slip at the very end of all the notes. By the end of class today, you should be able to calculate the volume of prisms and cylinders. So first, let's start off with some definitions. The first one being a polyhedron. So a polyhedron is a three-dimensional figure composed of faces that are all polygons. So when we define polyhedrons, we're either going to define them as prisms or pyramids. So the difference being that if you have a prism, that means think about it as like its base shape and then its top of the shape are both the same, right? And then they just have some height. Versus a pyramid, that means that you have these faces, but then its faces, the lateral faces, meaning the faces that move, go up, meet at one point, and we call this point the apex. So that determines whether we're talking about a prism or a pyramid. Non-polyhedrons are three-dimensional shapes that cannot be created using only polygons. So, for instance, cylinders, cones, spheres, we said those are not polyhedrons because if we just look here for one thing, the base shape of the cylinder is a circle, and a circle is not a polygon, so therefore a cylinder cannot be a polyhedron. The same thing for the cone. So the cone's base shape is a circle, and again, circles are not polygons, so therefore this is not a polyhedron. And then, of course, the sphere, same thing, same type of reasoning. So let's go ahead and let's try to identify these polyhedrons here. I'll give you guys a minute. Now, what you should have said is, noting that this base shape is a rectangle. This is a rectangular prism since the base and then this top shape are the same. Here, my base shape is a square, so I'm going to say this is a square pyramid because you have that apex point. And then here, my base shape has 6 sides, which makes it a hexagon. So it's a hexagonal pyramid, again, because it meets at that point there, the apex. Go ahead and identify these 3 polyhedrons really quickly. So for this first one, the base shape is a pentagon, so it's a pentagonal prism. Triangular pyramid, because the base shape is a triangle, it has an apex. And then this one is a hexagonal prism, because notice this one is, instead of being lateral, it's just laying down, going back. And so my base shape is a hexagon, and it's a prism, so hexagonal prism. Now, whenever we're talking about the volume of a prism, what we're always going to do is we're going to find the area of the base shape and then multiply it by its height. So, for example, I have this prism here, this triangular prism. Now, if I went ahead and I found the area of my base shape and then multiplied it by my height, I would find the volume of my prism. Because this is basically like thinking about, I'm taking all of these right triangles that are exactly the same and just stacking them up on top of each other to create height. So if I found the area of that shape and then just multiplied it by the thickness or the height, then I could get the volume. So since this is a right triangle, this one's easy in that I know what the height is. The height is 4 centimeters. My base is 3 centimeters. And then the height of my prism itself is 2 centimeters. So volume is, and then again, it's talking about a triangle. It's 1/2 times the base of 3 times the height of the triangle, because I'm finding the area of the triangle. And then I'm multiplying that by the height of the prism itself. So 1/2 times 3 times 4 times 2 is 12 centimeters cubed. Notice for volume, you cube your units. Go ahead and find the volume of the cylinder. So we've talked about this before with finding the area of a circle. When you find the area of a circle, what you're going to do is pi times r squared. So if you just want to find the area of the circle, it would be pi times r being your radius. So your radius is 9. And then if you square it, that gives you 81. So pi times 81 times the height of my cylinder is 6 feet. So I'm going to multiply that by 6. 81 times 6 is 486 pi. 486 pi is approximately 1,526.8 feet cubed. I should actually show that was an approximation, so using the little